It's time for a tier list. I know it's late, but hopefully I can help you pick the right weapons for those late season's rank ups. With the meta firmly stabilized and players adjusted to the changes, we've gotten a solid look at what's strong, what's niche, and what's simply not worth using. Whether you're a new contestant or a tournament level veteran, this guide will give you insight into how every weapon stacks up from D tier to S tier. I'll be covering the light, medium and heavy classes, breaking down each weapon with a brief explanation of why it deserves its place on the list. Let's dive in. Starting with the XP54, which goes straight up in the S tier. It's the gold standard for light weapons. It's versatile, easy to use, and effective at almost any range. Its high fire rate, manageable recoil, and solid max size make it a go-to pick for aggressive players who want consistent performance. Ever since the buff at the beginning of the season, it's pretty much been the best weapon in the game. Crazy high damage, which paired with invisibility gives opponents very low response time. Moving on to the 93R, which is a B tier. It's a decent weapon, very similar stats to the ARN, but it has the fastest TTK against lights out of all the SMGs. If you're confident you land every shot, you could keep it in the reserve in case you're struggling to take down an XP light, but honestly there are better options. The recurve bow is a B tier. The bow seemingly doesn't offer anything on paper, but like we know, that not always translates to gameplay. High hipfire accuracy and high damage opens very interesting playstyles once you master this weapon, although it lands on the B tier as there are more consistent alternatives. The LH1 is B tier again. The semi-auto rifle excels in long-range fights, and if you've got great aim, you can dominate entire lanes on shutdown pushes. It used to be crazy strong, but I would say now it's back in its appropriate spot. The SR84, again another B tier. It has a similar playstyle to the bow, less accuracy when hip firing, higher fire rate but obviously much louder. Just like the bow, it shines when used with dash, and it's a pretty fun weapon overall. For the throwing knives, it's a C tier. Some people enjoy the throwing knives a lot, but I'm not one of them. You don't have to reload, but the projectile speed is just painfully slow. I wouldn't suggest using this weapon for now. Moving on to the M11, another B tier unfortunately. It melts target at close range, but is very hard to control due to its crazy fire rate. It's strong but very limited as the range is abysmal. It's more like an automatic shotgun, and following the trend of many weapons this season, there are better options for close range engagements. The dagger, unfortunately, as fun as it is, it's a C tier. It's a flashy melee option that can delete enemies instantly. It's risky but rewarding when used for surprise attacks or flanks. It shines in chaos but kinda sucks for the final round. The ARN-220, the latest addition to the light class, is a solid A tier. Offers good versatility and damage at long range with a great recoil pattern. I would suggest training recoil with the ARN as it's fantastic for headshot tracking, giving this weapon the necessary boost in DPS value. Now for the sword, it's a C tier. Ever since the nerf, you hardly ever see a sword user. Maybe the nerf was a little too harsh, but for now I would leave it in the C tier. Now the V9S is again another B tier. Yet again another decent firearm. I'm not a big fan as it feels the fire rate is too slow, but I have to recognize it's not as bad as it feels, and for that it goes at the bottom of B tier. The M26 Matter is a solid A tier. It's a great close quarter weapon, high damage and a bigger spread than the average shotgun in the game, but don't be fooled as it still requires precision to deal the most amount of damage. And for the final weapon for the light class, the SH1900 is again another A tier. It has the fastest TTKs out of all the classes and again rewards precision even more than the M26. The only drawback might be trying to close the gap, but with the right gadgets even that is taken care of. Now moving on to the medium class, starting the list we have the FAMAS, which is straight up an S tier. Exceptional burst damage and the best TTKs against mediums and heavies out of all the ARs. Accurate, fast and effective in most situations considering its phenomenal hip fire. It's a really great pick for mediums, and honestly I would always have the FAMAS in the reserve. Now the latest addition to the medium class, the CB01 Repeater. It's a B tier, a powerhouse lever action that performs beautifully at mid-range. TTKs aren't the best, and especially the jump from 3 bullets for mediums to 5 bullets for heavies isn't great. Overall, because of consistency, I've put it in the B tier. Now the AKM is an A tier. The all-around solid choice is consistent, easy to use and flexible. It doesn't have a lot of range nor the best TTKs, but it's just easy to use. Although in higher ranks you're absolutely forced to hit every headshot, it's a very rounded weapon, and for that it goes at the bottom of A tier. The FCAR is another A tier. Lower fire rate, but each shot counts. For players who prefer to land heavy accurate shots, this rifle performs admirably. Another great pick for mediums, as it has the fastest TTK against lights and in general a fan favorite. Now the model is unfortunately a B tier. It's no longer the beauty it used to be, or the nuisance depending on what your opinion on it was. Anyway, with the mid-season buff it's doing a little better, but not so much to jump a tier up. It now has a little more range, but it still loses to the next entry, which is the Cerberus 12GA, which straight up S tier. It's just a better shotgun and I'm not mad. You have 3 shots and if you miss, you're forced to reload, giving the opponent a chance to take you down. But missing with the shotgun is not even that easy, so strong but balanced. Now the Pike 5.56, it's surprisingly really fun and good. It's an A tier. It's a solid pick for mediums and it's almost a semi-automatic FCAR. Low recoil, great TTKs, and even the hipfire is good. I usually like to use it when I get bored of the FCAR. That's how similar it is, at least in terms of stats. The only difference is having to master the semi-automatic fire mode, but that's a fresh twist I enjoy every now and then. The R357 is a B tier, let's be real. The revolver is really fun and has a nasty headshot damage. The only problem I have with it is the visual recoil, which can fuck up your tracking when aiming. But once you master it, you're golden. It's only in B tier because it lacks in range. That might not be a problem in quick play, but once you get into a tournament, you will feel this deficit, especially now that we have both Pike and Repeater. The CR40 is D tier, absolutely. Still feels more like a meme pick. It deals a lot of damage and can be devastating in the right situation, but the fact that if you get into a fight in too close range, there's just nothing you can do to win that fight, as shooting the enemy will damage you as well. Obviously we're talking about 0 to 1 meters, but that paired with the fact that you hardly hit enemies in high ground lands it as one of the worst weapons for medium. The riot shield is C tier. Mastering this weapon can actually make it pretty good as it offers really great protection. But continuing on this tier theme, it's not that good in terms of consistency, which makes it land pretty low in the list. Finally, the dual swords, again a D tier. It's visually striking, pretty cool mechanic, but honestly if you want to use a melee weapon, just use the riot shield. Moving on to the heavy class, and starting with an S tier pick, we got the Shack 50. This is the go-to choice for anyone who wants to beam enemies down. Incredible accuracy, damage, and time to kill. Devastating at close and medium ranges, it's just a good weapon in most situations. Now for the MGL-32, which is unfortunately a D tier. As much as I enjoy the MGL, I have to admit it's not as good as I wish. Maybe one day we'll receive the long-awaited rework, but until then it'll stay on D tier. The KS-23, it's B tier. It's still a pretty good weapon, but it lost its A tier spot from last season, because due to the changes to the animations being cancelled by most actions, now you can no longer combo the KS-23 with a winch, and unfortunately this weapon became a lot less consistent because of that. For the flamethrower, we have another B tier. It's honestly a worse SA-12. It can be effective, but like I said, I would rather use the semi-auto shotgun if I wanted a close range option. Moving on to the Spear, which is a C tier. It offers unique range and speed for a melee weapon. Great for closing gaps and catching enemies off guard, although at the moment, like the flamethrower, there is a better option for it. The M60 is now an A tier. It got a pretty consistent buff at the beginning of the season, and that made it one of the best weapons for heavy. More range, more damage, and now better TTKs than the Lewis. Still, I prefer the latter for range, but overall the M60 is a great weapon. Speaking of the Lewis gun, it's still an A tier. Honestly, not much to say about the Lewis, as not much has changed. Low recoil, nice damage, a good range weapon. The 50 Akimbas are an A tier, a fantastic pick for range with devastating headshot damage capable of taking down lights with 2 headshots. You'll need a little more precision when using this weapon, and it doesn't have the greatest of headfire accuracies, but once you master it, it's a great option for heavies. The SA-1216 is A tier. Just like the Lewis, not much has changed for the SA-12, which still retains its tier. It's a little outshadowed by the Shack 50, but it's still a good weapon for an oppressive playstyle. And now the latest addition to the heavy class, the M134 minigun, which is a solid S tier. It was just a matter of time before we realized just how strong this weapon would be, and like many others, I agree this is probably the best weapon for the heavy class at the moment. It's great for the oppressive playstyle you face in tournaments right now, where opponents just walk in front of you. And the last entry on this list is the Sledgehammer, which is an A tier. It's the better alternative to the spear. The sledge just offers more. The old fire to break walls or set up traps behind corners works beautifully with the winch. And that wraps up my complete Season 6 weapon tier list. Keep in mind, no list is perfect. Your individual playstyle, aim and positioning will always be the deciding factors. But if you're looking to optimize your loadout and stay competitive, this tier list should give you a strong foundation. Let me know what you agree or disagree with in the comments, and if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. And that being said, see you next time.